Okay, we're preparing to go live. Greetings, family. We are live. I've been having some difficulties backstage, so certainly hope that we have been redirected now to YouTube. Sister Shanice in the house. It is Wednesday. We are live and direct here on YouTube, and I've got our special guest, Leo Muhammad, in the background. So apologies that we've come on a couple of minutes later than scheduled. Had some technicals backstage, didn't think we were able to come live today. So absolutely delighted that we are live and direct. I'm actually still just looking and checking to make sure that that is actually the case. So welcome family as you come through the door. It is the Sister Shanice show, and we have our special guest, Brother Leo Muhammad. We've had him here as a guest before on the Sister Shanice show, and he absolutely tore the house down with his message for the black man. And the message is just so powerful that, you know, there are those who would rather we not bring the message. So hence the challenges. But what we do know is that now is the time for us to be rising up our African men. So remember, family, we don't want you to get hung up on the word black. We know some of you do, but you know, it really is, you know, our definition of blackness, and we want you to get to understand the power of blackness. So we are indeed live. I can see that on YouTube now. So great. Let me bring my brother Leo Muhammad back into the house because he has been graciously waiting backstage in the meeting room. So let's go over to the meeting room. Let's do this. Right. Come on, meeting room, come up. Everything just seems to go so slow in this particular package. I've got our brother up here twice. So let's admit our brother Leo into the waiting room. Rise up, brother Leo Muhammad. Absolute pleasure to have you in the house. How are you, my beloved?
I'm fine by the grace of God, my sister. Can you hear me?
Hearing you loud and clear.
Wonderful.
I had a bit of a fright, you know. At first it was saying, error, can't get you on. Service not available, you know, but we managed to get on. I thought, no, this isn't happening to us again.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I'm hoping that my little presentation thing will work this evening as well, because I've been having some difficulties myself. But you know, we just persevere, sister. We will just persevere, and by the grace and mercy of God, we will get there.
Indeed. So I'm just tapping away in the background, gonna let our family know that we are live and that they can indeed now log on and you know, give some of those who find it difficult getting the link, you know, the link that they need. So family, we welcome you to another Sister Shanice show, the platform that is available to our greats within our community who are doing awesome works. I have been privileged, I have been honored for well over a year now. What started as just a series of 6 shows has been going on well over a year, for almost 2 years now. And during that time, I'm sure I've had well over 100 guests that have graced the stage, because we have so many wonderful brothers and sisters out there who are doing phenomenal works. And it's a real privilege and an honor to be able to use this platform to showcase the works of our family members out there. And today, as you know, we have our brother Leo Muhammad, an awesome brother within our community, who was with us a couple of months ago with a message to the black man, part 1. And there was just so much more that needed to be said, you know, where I had to ask the brother to please come back and share another message, you know, for the black men. And our brother's so humble, as busy as he is. And so, you know, with a heart to reach the people, he, you know, agreed to come back again. So we are indeed honored. You're going to be hearing from him right now, because I'm going to go over to our brother and ask him if he could kindly just welcome the audience. And as he does so, I'll be just posting some links in the background. Over to you, my brother Leo. Please welcome the audience, and by way of opening remarks, over to you, my brother.
Thank you, my dear beloved sister Shanice, for the wonderful invitation once again. My name is Brother Leo Muhammad, and I'd like to begin like this. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, I bear witness that there is but one God. Whether we say God, whether we say Allah, whether we say Jah, Yahweh, Jehovah, there are so many wonderful, beautiful names, dear family, that the members of the human family use to describe the creator of the heavens and the earth. But by whatever name we call him, I bear witness that there is one, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger. And I'm speaking of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, of 1,400 years ago. But I'm also speaking of a man by the name of Master Farad Muhammad, who came to black people in the Western Hemisphere. I'm speaking of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, another black man that we should all be familiar with. But I know as a fact, today in 2022, the vast majority of our people know very little about this man, because our enemy, and make no mistake about it, we have an enemy, and that enemy is absolutely powerful and wicked. That enemy has attempted over many, many years to submerge all information and hide all facts about this man, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we have another Muhammad among us. And this Muhammad is the man that I've been blessed to meet, and who is my leader, teacher, and guide in this world today. And I'm speaking of none other than the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan Muhammad. Dear family, I have to always tell you the truth. If it wasn't for these wonderful human beings that I've just mentioned, really, Brother Leo would have nothing to say. If you knew my background and the kind of foolishness that I used to be involved in as a teenager growing up on the mean streets of London, I feel truly blessed, honored, and privileged to have met these Muhammads who have taught me what I know today. And I am studying every day, trying to enlighten myself, educate myself, that I might have something to share with you. So I thank you, dear family, for tuning in to the Sister Shanice show this evening. I pray that we will be blessed to have a successful show, and I will try my best to give you something of enlightenment, that you can go away from the show and really, feel empowered to make a difference, to make a change, to do something for yourself and for your family, for your loved ones, and for the members of the human family. So that's what we will attempt to do this evening. And I just want to say, I greet you, my beloved brothers and sisters, in an ancient tongue that was authored, that was originated by the black man and the black woman. We lost it, and now we think it belongs to somebody else. The language I speak of is a mathematically precise language called Arabic. And I greet you in the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum. Those words simply mean, when translated from the ancient tongue into the modern English language, peace be unto you. That's the spirit in which I sit before you this evening, and I'm ready to go. Our subject, by the way, is Message to the Black Man, Part 2.
Thank you so much, my brother. What a wonderful opening. We're excited to hear the message that you've got for us today. And indeed, as always, a privilege and an honor to have you grace the platform to address our audience. As you know, we have an international audience. We usually have our brothers and sisters join us from various parts of the world, from the continent. And it's always wonderful to, have our brothers and sisters join us on the Sister Shanice show. So as our family comes through the door, we welcome you. Please let us know where in the world you are viewing us from, because, as I said, we do know we're an international audience, and it's good to be able to get an understanding of our reach. Sometimes we have family from Kenya, from Uganda, from South Africa, from Zimbabwe, from various parts in America and various parts of Europe. And it is, always an honor and a privilege to have you all in the house. So rising you up as you come through the door. Please spread the word, let the family know that we are live. So we welcome you, Brother Kimani, in the house. Rise yourself up every time. Brother Brian in the house, we rise you up. And go travel abroad, we rise you up. My beautiful sister, I know who that is. Our beautiful sister all the way there in Nicaragua, we rise you up. So family, as you come through the door, drop us a message in the chat. Let us know that you're in the house. Brother Kwame Ossi, rise up yourself. Assalamu alaikum, he says to you, Brother Leo Muhammad.
Alaikum salam.
Hey, Nkala, all the way from Florida, we welcome you. Hey, Danny, Fluffy, who's watching us from Rugby in the UKKK, rise yourself up. Welcome, family, as you come through the door. We are privileged and honored to have you join us for this live broadcast today. Now, there's so much going on in the world out there. The insults that we have been facing as a people, the trauma that continues to be heaped on us as a people, the humiliation of even our leaders, we have seen in these recent days as well. It's relentless. Our brother Leo Muhammad is gonna make us clearly understand who the enemy and the evil ones and the wicked ones are, on the earth today, who are, the ones that we call Satan. He's going to make it absolutely clear who they are, who the enemy of the black man is, and why it is that we need to be awakening the black man. And, there's a lion, there's an energy that we know exists inside of the African man, the black man. And until that man is awakened, we are going to continue to be weakened as a nation, because when the black man rises, the black family will rise. When the black family rises, the black communities will rise. When the black communities start to rise, our nations will rise. And when our nations are rising, we will be strong again globally as a people, and we'll be able to take up our rightful position as the rulers and the controllers of this planet. Because for those who are ruling and controlling it today, be a destruction them are going with. If we left the planet in a fit, man, nothing gonna leave of it. But
that's right.
Brother Leo, how do you see, the way the planet is being controlled, the way it's being managed, the environment, how the people are being treated? Just give us a bit of an insight into how, you see what's going on outside there right now, my brother.
I mean, my dear sister, it's upside down and it's inside out, and as a people, whether we really appreciate this or not, we are a people who are righteous by nature. Our actual brain cells are designed to think right. Yet we live in a world that's completely wrong. Therefore, what happens under those circumstances is that we as a people, we suffer greatly. It's like being people of the sun and living in these frigid zones called Europe, where we are deprived of that natural sunlight and that which stimulates our melatonin, our melanin. Therefore, as a people, we end up being sick, and not just sick physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually ill, disease, and disease means being ill at ease, not relaxed, not rested, not in a tranquil and comfortable place where we can actually think rightly. And so, my dear sister, that's the condition. That's where we are. And therefore, as a people, we can't afford to be complacent. We can't afford to sit down as if we are in heaven when in reality we are in hell. And we have the power as a people to change hell into heaven. but it means that we have to individually and collectively, you know, launch have a mission mentality in our lives. We can't behave now even like civilians. You know, I'm a Jamaican by birth. And in Jamaica, my sister, I remember growing up and I remember watching these ants in Jamaica that we call soldier ant. And these ants, my dear sister, wherever they went, they marched. They were military. They were militant. The way in which they dealt with enemies that were 10, 20 times their size, and they would defeat the enemy because they all acted in unison. They all acted together. My dear family, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to us many years ago that our unity is more powerful than a nuclear bomb.
Wow.
And I know for some of us it sounds like rhetoric, it just sounds like words, but I'm telling you, man, those words are so true and they are so powerful. If only as a people we would act on this principle of unity and uniformity and universality. Because once we do that, our enemies will absolutely be null and void. They can only function and keep this crazy upside down, inside out world going whilst you and I remain divided and ruled, divided and conquered. And so, you know, in a nutshell, that's how I see the current situation. I do not want to give the impression to my people that I'm pessimistic. I really am not. I believe that the future belongs to us, but no one is going to hand it to us. That's the point. We are called today to action. We're called today to do something for ourselves. And I hope by the end of this message, we will appreciate just how important that call to action is.
Wow, wow, wow. Well, I'm excitedly looking forward to the message, as I'm sure everyone in the house is. So as the family comes through the house, we acknowledge you. We thank you so much. Slight challenges on the computer, so looking at the phone here and the prints are small. But anyway, I'll do the best I can. So I want to rise up. Well, we've got Trinidad in the house. Rise up, Kathleen, watching us from Trinidad. We've got Sister Cheryl in the house. Cheryl B in the house. Welcome, welcome. She's bigging us both up. Go travel, rise up. Brother Kwame Ossie is saying, what's this message? With answers to, and I'm gonna have to get the glasses for that one. Sorry, I'll come back to that, my brother. Looks like we got Hackney in the house as well, rising up all the families they come through the door. Okay, let me not take up any further time because we have our beloved brother Leo Muhammad, as you has heard, ready to deliver a powerful message to our brothers and sisters. This divine brother who is here for such a time as this, recognizes that we as a people are at war, recognizes that there is an enemy out there that seeks to kill and destroy us, recognizes nevertheless that we can overcome and that we can, be the strong Africans that we were created to be, supposed to be, and recognizes that if we come together, there is so much that we can accomplish as a people. And I think that's our biggest challenge right now, that we've got to overcome the ability to come together as a people, irrespective of our differences, irrespective of our complexion, our tribe, our race, or our nation, our nationality, all the things that are put in the way to divide us. If we can be looking beyond all of that and coming together as a people, we will be a formidable force. So our brother Leo Muhammad, who's a community activist, public speaker, comedian, a spiritual leader, and has a heart for our people, I bring him before you now. More love. Over to you, beloved Leo Muhammad.
Thank you so much, my dear sister. And let me just set this up. And I'm hoping and I'm praying that I'm going to have sound and everything as I attempt to do what we need to do this evening. dear family, again, once again, I just cannot emphasize enough how grateful I am to our sister for this opportunity. I want to say that this is the most powerful and inspirational book ever written and addressed to the black man, including the Bible and the Holy Quran and other spiritual books, dear family. But most black men and women know nothing about it. Our subject is Message to the Black Man. I'm sure, as you can see there, you see Muhammad Ali holding that book, showcasing that book back in the 70s, in the 80s, really kind of like putting that book on the map. But that book has been around for a long time. And without that book, again, I wouldn't be the man I'm striving to be. And it contains a very, very powerful message, dear family, for all of us. And I would encourage all of us to make sure that you get your copy of Message to the Black Man. And straight away, we have a problem. But let's see again where we are. It says Message to the Black Man in America, but I just wanted to explain what that means. You see, if we understand anything about what's happened to us as a people, dear family, our brothers and sisters in North America were the most destroyed during that process of enslavement. Those of us in the Caribbean, I mean, man, we went to hell and we suffered, but not like our brothers and sisters in North America who were destroyed totally and utterly. You know, there was this white senator back in the day who boasted in their Parliament House in America that they had closed off every avenue of light to the mind of the Negro, to the mind of the enslaved. This is how confident they were that they had totally dehumanized black people in North America. And so this message, when it came, it had to go to the black man in America first. But I've put there, then the whole world. And so even though it says Message to the Black Man in America, understand that this is a message for those of us who are on the continent, the mother continent of Africa, those of us in the Caribbean, those of us in the diaspora. It is a message, dear beloved family, for all of us. It's a message that, I said this before and I'll say it again. Imagine having a message specifically for the black man, and the black man refuses to read that message. I can't imagine no Chinese man having a message to the Chinese man, or no Russian man, or no Asian man having a message specifically designed for them, and they wouldn't study and read that message. And so again, I'm encouraging you, dear family. You might ask the question, why do we need a message to the black man? That's an intelligent question, and I say it like this. I was involved in one of the most iconic black comedy shows in the history of the United Kingdom. And somebody in the early days of that show wrote a sketch called Damn Fool Man. And Damn Fool Man, I played my role in Damn Fool Man as alongside my other actors and artists. But in truth, I hated it so much that I set about rewriting it, and I changed it was a superhero called Damn Fool Man, and his sidekick was called Idiot Boy. And I changed Damn Fool Man and Idiot Boy into Conscious Youth and Sensible Smuddy. Now, I can't find those transitions anywhere at the present time. All I've got here is just a little clip from Damn Fool Man, just to give you an example, because see, family, whether we appreciate it or not, this is how many in this world views the black man today, as a fool, as a damn fool. And even worse than that, many of us see ourselves like that and don't have any respect for us as a people. And by the way, Sister Shanice, just to say, as we go along, please, my sister, feel free to jump in at any stage during the presentation, pose your questions, say whatever you feel you need to say, just interrupt at will, because I don't want it to just be my voice alone necessarily in this endeavor. So let's just see. I'm hoping that this plays.
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
This week's episode, Damn Fool Man thwarts everybody.
Hello?
Damn fool man.
Yes?
Get here quick.
Why?
American tourist man is blackmailing all the VIPs with his Olympus zoom lens. You have to catch him.
Don't worry, Commissioner. We will catch him. But first, I've got to get some winter thermals on because it's pretty cold for this time of year. And you know the weathermen, you can't trust them as far as you can twat them.
Shut up, you damn fool. Just get here quick.
Soon come.
Damn fool man.
Milk, Commissioner?
No. Thanks. Anyway, I like cream. But forget all that. American tourist man has struck again. What are you going to do about it?
Get him to take a picture of me, an idiot boy.
No, you brainless fool. Try.
It's damn fool, actually. All right, idiot. No, but you think every time.
Sorry.
And I quite like the American people, them anyway. I know they make a damn nuisance of themselves when they come to Jamaica. But Frank Sinatra, he's a Yankee. Yes, I like him. He's been to Jamaica, and when he come, him did sing that song. I did it my way. Oh.
Get a grip, you damn fool.
Will this do?
Enough of this foolishness. Just get those pictures.
Don't worry, Commissioner. We will twat that flashing, phony Yankee man. Oh, my. Oh, I got my fingers. All right. Oh, God. Soon come. Come on.
Do the shake and vac and put the freshness back. Do the shake and vac and get the bad smell out.
Hold it right there, Mr. Meyer.
But kiss my neck back. You can't take pictures of me doing the household chores. I'll be ruined. What will the voters think?
Would you like me to send you some prints, sir? Gosh, it's damn fool, man.
Yes, you Yankee fool, man, you. We would have been here earlier, but I had to take idiot boy to the fair. You see this little cuddly tie you got here? I win it for him. It's all in the wrist. When you throw the dot, you just throw it.
It's for you, idiot fool.
It's the damn fool, actually.
Hello? Oh, Commissioner.
Just get on with it, you damn fool, man.
All right. Sorry.
If you could just lift your chin up a bit, that's lovely. And leave me your name and address and $500 deposit, and I'll send you some prints.
Oh, I want purple rain. Yes. And graffiti bridge. Shut up, idiot boy. And enough of this photo-clicking Yankee jackass foolishness. Let's get him.
Well done.
So that was just to give you a little taste of the madness that we were doing on The Real McCoy, dear family. It was fun. It was, laughter, because believe it or not, laughter is part of the medicine that we need as a people for our healing, because many of us are very, very wounded, destroyed people based on the last 400 years. And laughter is a very, very good medicine. It's a tremendous antidote, dear family. And so we did that. But like I said, I wish I could show you how we transformed those characters into conscious youth and sensible smutty. But I'm still searching for those tapes, and I want to find them.
Oh, well, let's put the word out there. If anyone has, copies of those shorts that you did back then, they must get in touch with you, or, they can reach you via my channel, and we'll get them out to you, because, occasionally we do see these great clips from time gone by floating around YouTube. So maybe somebody's got them out there. And also, my brother, what's beautiful about the clip that you just showed is that it makes us see, it gives us an insight into, you know, how simply something can be done to get a message across, even today. So we can use the technology that was used back then, because that was on TV back then, wasn't it? Back in the
Absolutely.
day.
Yes, mainstream TV.
So that was on mainstream TV, and you know, it doesn't have any of the technology there, but nevertheless, it's something that we can do today, our young people can do today, in communicating messages. So, thanks for showing that. Thanks for showing that.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's going to trigger some young people into thinking, hey, you know, maybe we can be a superhero, you know, and be a conscious youth. And what's the other one? Somebody?
Sensible Smuddy.
Sensible somebody. Part 2. Yeah, we
That's right.
modernize.
That's right. You can do something, sister. So, as well as crack, weed, fentanyl, alcohol, heroin, methamphetamine, and countless other illegal and even over-the-counter drugs, dear family, the new phenomena that has many of our young people hooked is called nitrous oxide. Sister Shanice, wherever you go today in London, you see these canisters everywhere. And these canisters, like the big ones there with the N20 on them, I mean, they're going out something like 50 pounds or 100 pounds a time. Is full of nitrous oxide gas that they use to blow up balloons, that they use to power these machines that, for instance, you might use cream on a cake to power the cream, what do you call that? That whipped cream. This gas is what many of our young people now are sucking into their lungs. And this nitrous oxide, one of the names they call it is laughing gas, because it makes them feel good. It gives them a little buzz for a few seconds. Then they got to suck some more. And, you know, my sister, honestly, if you can see the level of damage that this thing is doing to the central nervous system of our young people, and it's causing many of them tremendous illnesses, but they're so ignorant to the facts that, I mean, it's like an epidemic now in the UK. I'm not sure how bad it is in the States and other parts, but this is what's going on, my dear sister, in this country, and it's ruining this generation of young people. And if we're not careful, you see, because what happens with these types of substances is then it leads them on to other substances like what I've mentioned already. You know, fentanyl now is it's one of these opiates that again a lot of people are now using. And you got the methamphetamine, you got so many different things now that our people are using. And why are they using these things? It's because our people, again, are living in a world that's so crazy that in trying to make sense of a world like this, seeking some type of solace or comfort or ease from pain, because one of the things that the fentanyl, for instance, does, it's like a painkiller. And so you will find that with most drug use, it's to relieve one either of our senses, because we're oversensitive now to the kind of madness that's going on. So in order to forget, in order to come out of that reality of life, we take drugs. And this is really, really bad right now, what's going on. And I'm really warning the young people. This thing, this nitrous oxide, it affects the head of the sperm. It affects the egg of the young girl who is sucking this stuff into her body. And ultimately, when you get to that point where you're now going to produce a child, that child is going to be born deficient in one form or another. So again, this is message to the black man, dear family. I'm really not playing with this tonight, because I really want us to understand the many and varied things that are ill affecting our young people today, ill affecting the youth. And one of them is this, dear family. I want you to just have a look at this.
The UK drill scene has exposed many fans of the genre to a side of Great Britain that many don't get to see. Knife crime and other gang-related violence is a big problem in London, and in some ways, it's been fueled by the popularity of drill. Here's a
And by the way, the brother who's talking is evidently an American. He doesn't really know Tottenham and North London and South London and some of these places. So sometimes even his pronunciations are a little bit off. He's doing his best to explain some of the madness that's taking place in the UK, in London, and in the inner cities. And so that's why he doesn't necessarily always get everything right. But generally, what he's talking about is this so-called drill music scene and the types of activities that's now engulfing our young people, in particular, young men.
look at a few UK drill rappers who've been involved in violent situations involving knives. RIP to all the victims mentioned in this video. J Sav, LGR. J Sav was a rapper associated with the crew called LGR that's based in the Leighton Green area of London. LGR is known to beef with another crew in the area called Molly Strip, who's based in the E10 and E17 postcodes of the Leighton and Walthamstow neighborhoods in East London. Molly Strip is made up of primarily Somali immigrants and other groups they have partnered with. They are known to control the local drug trade in the area. Many of their beef stem from attempts to step into rival turf and control the drug market in East London. Molly Strip was originally a part of a larger gang called the Beaumont Boys, which was one of the most dominant gangs in East London in the 90s. But the Somalis and the Beaumont Boys eventually split off to create their own crew, which was now called Molly Strip. They then started to beef with the Beaumont Boys over territory and became one of the deadliest and most feared crews in London. They may not control much of the drug trade in East London, but they have also extended their business dealings as far as Scotland and other parts of the UK. They've become so powerful in the city that they're at war with almost every other crew in East London, including LGR. Molly Strip is known to be more organized and calculated than many other UK drill crews. While many gangs in London are just loosely affiliated groups from the same areas who make music and beef with ops for revenge and internet clout, Molly Strip has built a large drug trafficking operation and managed to assert dominance in the area by maintaining a low profile and keeping an eye on their ops. They tend to stay off of social media.
He said keeping an eye on their ops, keeping an eye on their opposition. But dear family, do we understand that? And I mean, this is happening in all the inner cities all over the world. It's happening in North America. It's happening even on the continent now. In some of the large cities on the continent, you got these types of gang warfare taking place between young people. But do we understand how, for instance, the record industry and the record companies manipulate these young people, and some of them who are beefing over different lyrics that they're singing against one another and rapping against one another, and how these things are elevated and promoted to the point where some of these young people online are making big money from just beefing, from just fighting and killing one another on the streets. These things are subtly promoted and enhanced by the fact that these young people, many of them now, can become famous from literally just warring and fighting one another. You hear all of these different names, these different crews, these different so-called gangs, and believe me, family, if you were to sit some of these young people down and question them about what is the beef about, what is the argument, what is the actual reason why you hate this group from over there, this postcode or this area, they can't articulate nothing that is really a basis for this, other than the fact that our young people have been so orientated now into a way of life called self-hatred, and literally almost like a death cult. If you look at the way they've got our young people dressing now, where, you know, they're constantly just hiding their faces, hiding their identity, wearing these types of masks, and just, you know, walking around, skulking around the streets, you know, like wild creatures. This is a serious business that's taking place on this planet. And again, like I said, with the number one target being the young black males, and we have fallen right into it, hook, line, and sinker.
Instead of using it as a way to gather information on their rivals. They also pay close attention to police activity and have been known to threaten store owners over CCTV footage that could link them to various crimes. There's only one well-known Molly Strip rapper, Richie Molly Strip, who performs in a ski mask to protect his identity. But overall, Molly Strip isn't your average drill gang. They run a massive drug empire and are willing to use surveillance techniques and brutal violence to protect their control over the area. There was a lot of tit-for-tat warfare going on in the area in 2018 and 2019 between Molly Strip and their ops like LGR and the Beaumont Boys. J Sav was a drill rapper and member of LGR who was involved in this beef. It's been rumored that Jay Sav was responsible for stabbing a Molly Strip member named Blacks in the neck. On January 8, 2019, Jay Sav was out riding on his moped when he got caught by several members of Molly Strip. The rapper was out selling drugs on behalf of the Beaumont boys, and the Molly Strip members were just cruising around enemy territory looking for ops. They spotted Jay Sav and tried to run him off the road with their car. They then jumped out of the vehicle and stabbed the rapper 9 times just to make sure he was dead. The sad thing was that Jay Sav was only 14 at the time of this murder, despite already being caught up in street life. A 19-year-old named Ayub Mashdulin was later arrested and sentenced to life in prison for the kill.
Are you listening to the ages of these young people, dear family? 14 years old, already a seasoned drug mule or drug dealer on the streets of London. This is the real. You know what? The other day, the police shot and killed a young brother who again is in one of these bands or rap groups or whatever. They killed him in South London with a single shot through his windscreen into his head. And there are a lot of demonstrations going on now in the UK over the death of this brother, Chris Carber. But you know, dear family, what I've noticed with us as a people, we are quick to make a lot of noise when the killing is done by the police. But when we kill each other on a regular and daily basis, there is hardly any outcry. And what we do is, many of us are literally aiding and abetting the types of behavior that our young people are getting more and more immersed in. And then we wonder why there is a death culture now. And then we see our young people who are literally like, they're you know, I remember when I was growing up, for instance, and like I said earlier, you may have heard me say earlier on, I was really bad as a teenager, and I was very ignorant and foolish on those streets. But you know what, dear family? When I met an elder, if an elder approached me, somebody who was mature and attempted to talk to me, I would never dream of disrespecting that person. But the conditions today, that's completely out of the window. These young people today, they have been so schooled in this madness of this world. And understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying this is the young person's madness. This is the madness of this world. A world that's just full of warfare and corruption and lying and stealing and murdering. And then we wonder, you know, it's like, imagine a baby being born in a snake pit, a pit full of snakes. And then we are wondering, why did that child get bitten? It's obvious, dear family, if you birth a child in a pit full of snakes, the child is going to get bitten or get crushed by one of the boa constructors in that pit. There's just no escape. The scripture says it like this: born in sin, shaped in iniquity. We're born into a world full of sin and inequality and iniquity. No wonder many of our young people are behaving the way they're behaving and doing the things that we're doing. And it's incumbent on us, dear family, to get a message to the young people that they might recognize that it's just not productive, it's not constructive, there is no future in this. I'm listening to the man talking about, you know, young people getting stabbed and shot and killed, and it's like, and they play music over it and they're showing them doing their thing with their mask on or whatever, and it's become normalized. The other day on my show, the Imagination show, I showed a video where they took the corpse of one of the dead children and had the corpse propped up on the stage, and they're all dancing around. Because I'm saying to you, family, this has become a death cult. Our people, literally, and young people, you know that there are many young people now who don't see themselves reaching maturity, and they're accepting of it. They're accepting that, yeah, I'm not gonna get old. Think about this, man, because this is why it is necessary today to have a message to the black man.
Ayub was a member of the Molly Boys who had a pretty rough background. His parents split up when he was 7, and he was put into foster care at age 15 when his father died. He was identified as a victim of modern slavery in 2018 after being exploited by older dudes in the area and forced to sell drugs from Molly Strip. Yet, despite his troubled past, the jury didn't find this enough to justify cold-blooded murder. Police later recovered rubber gloves that Ayub had worn during the stabbing that contained the DNA as well as Jay Sav's blood, which they used to convict him of the crime. He was then sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 21 years. It's a tragic story all around. Although Jay Sav was clearly involved in the street life, he was still just a 14-year-old kid who should have had the chance to turn his life around. Plus, his killer seemed to be forced into the gang against his will, but now will spend the majority of his life behind bars. But it turns out that there's more than one drill rapper in London who went by the name Jay Sav, who met a similar fate. This next rapper was confronted by ops in South London and ended up getting stabbed 5 times in the chest and stomach. Jay Sav, LTH. There was another rapper in the UK drill scene who went by the name Jay Sav, who was associated with the LTH gang that operates out of the Tulsi Hill neighborhood of South London. Jay Sav from LTH met a similar fate to the other rapper from LGR. He was only 16 years old, but already active in the streets and was confronted by ops who stabbed the rapper to death over a drill-related beef. LTH stands for Lower Tulse Hill, an area the gang is based in South London. They are allied with crews like Moscow 17 and the Harlem Spartans, and at war with groups like 410 and CT. CT, or Claptown Boys, are a crew from the Claptown neighborhood of East London that are allegedly the crew that took credit for the killing of Jay Sav. On November 8, 2018, Jay Sav was standing outside in Tulse Hill, waiting for his mother to come pick him up. Ops from CT came into the neighborhood looking for trouble. They caught Jay Sav by himself and chased him, eventually stabbing him in the chest and stomach 5 times. The saddest part is that
And dear family, it goes on and on and on and on. This is just the reality of what our young people are involved in. And I go around this country talking to our people, and I can see sometimes how some of our people, especially people, you know, who should know better, people who are my age and younger, some of them, I can see them looking as if to say, well, you know, why are you talking like this? Why are you trying to share this with our people? Because we don't like sound doctrine. We don't like to hear guidance now. It's like many of us have become immune. I'm hearing an echo. Many of us have become
Sorry about that, yeah. I don't know what it is.
Yes, many of us have become immune now, dear family, to good advice and good guidance. And I'm appealing to us that it's time for us to get back to our natural ways.
the UK drill scene has exposed many fans.
Because what we're currently doing, it's not good. It's not good. I want to show you another aspect of what's happening with us now.
Okay, if I just interject there, yeah, before you go on, I just must say it's just so painful to watch. It really is. But, you know, you're just highlighting to us, primarily as adults who are watching this, really, you know, the works that we've got parents and as individuals who have responsibility for the upbringing of our children, you know, for taking some greater responsibility than just maybe bringing up the children in our own household, but for looking after other children within our neighborhood as well. You know, those canisters that you were showing that some of the young people are using, I could be looking right at it, and to be honest, I wouldn't even have known that that's what it was being used for. Yeah, if you hadn't shown me. And I'm sure everyone that's watching this video right now or in future will also, as thanks to you, be introduced to, you know, this gas canister thing that, you know, some of our children are using. Right. And so if we see it in our homes, if we see it in their bedrooms, we know what it is. You know, because if I'd have seen this in, you know, one of my young grandnephew or niece's bedroom, I wouldn't even have known what it is. So thank you for exposing me to that. And then, you know, what's happening within the drill scene as well, fortunately, and I must say, it's not all of our young people that are involved in these sorts of rap scenes, drill scenes, and the life that revolves around it. It is a small minority of our young people, but nevertheless, it is such that it overshadows really the vast majority of our young people who are striving to do better, who are wanting to do better. And so what we're not doing here is casting a dark shadow, so to speak, over all of our young people. We're highlighting here, an aspect of what's going on amongst some of our young people in our community that we as adults need to do something about. Amos Wilson talked about how, you can create an environment and then put people in that environment and they will behave accordingly. And we can see that some of our young people are getting caught up in this drill environment, and then they take on, all of the attributes that go with it. And it's really painful, to see what's happening here. We do need to look at the parenting. We do need to find out where some of these young people are from. Are they growing up in homes, that's run by the local authorities? Are they growing up in care homes? Are they young people who have been brought over from maybe war-torn parts of the world, who have only known violence while they've been growing up and therefore have a tendency towards dealing with matters in a violent way? Who's out there doing the work to find out, the background behind, the perpetrators of some of these crimes and the victims? We heard a bit there in your clip about the background of that Caucasian-looking man who was a young boy who was responsible for a murder there. But so we really need to know where these young people are coming from, what their upbringing and circumstances are, so that we can plan as adults to intervene, because we do need to have interventionist policies and programs. And if we're not doing better as adults, and providing for our young people so that we can give them the hope of the future, what can we say?
That's right, sister. That's right. And, again, it is important to know that so many of our young people today are doing tremendous things, and we have these academies now. Well, traditionally we used to call them Saturday schools, but I know many young people, and I'm involved in that process of trying to help our young people to take this thing onto another level. The problem is, and why this needs to be highlighted, is that there's far too many of our young people involved in this life. And, it's getting worse. This is the point. And even though, like I always say to those parents who's got that beautiful, good child at home, got that beautiful daughter, got that beautiful son, if you don't care about those other children who are out there carrying the knives, carrying the guns, carrying the drugs, and doing all of these things, even though they've been manipulated into that life, if you don't care about those, it's one of those that may meet your good son, meet your good daughter on the streets and do them harm. And so we should care about all of our children, whether they are biologically our own or not. Mm-hmm. I'm blessed to have children who are not involved in that life, but nonetheless, I care about those who are, because we've got to change this situation, dear family. I want to show you another aspect, which I'm sure many of us have seen. Our young people, the way we're dressing now on the streets and whatever, and I don't know if we think this is fun. But you see, you got to ask yourself, if the current young generation is the way they are, what does the future hold? See, because we're becoming literally a laughing stock and a mockery, and we do it to ourselves, dear family. Look at this brother. And by the way, I apologize from now if there's some bad language. But again, see, bad language is also part and parcel of what we are cultivating now. And there are many people now who actually think that bad language, filthy, low-down language is part and parcel of the black lifestyle. We're a people who come from, I think my sister is in Africa right now, and it's green. We're rural. We're agricultural people by nature. But today, what's our label? Our label today is urban. Our label today is concrete jungle. That's not who we are, dear family. This is the reality of how we have been labeled and what we've accepted as being the norm for black people.
That's my motherfucking dog right there, nigga. That's my motherfucking dog right there. That's my other dog right there. Now this is my main man right here, nigga. Talk to him, dog. Hey, talk to him, dog. This is my man. Hey, if y'all don't know, this is my main nigga right here. Now he gonna be with me when I blow up. I want y'all to see that. But this nigga right here, Crip, man, you was a Crip. What flag you catching? What game you was tripping? There ain't no Crip flag, dog. No, there ain't no Crip flag, bro. Man, Crip is blue flag, bro. Man, there ain't no Crip flag, man. Hey, them niggas gonna jump on your head for that shit, man. You got to get beat up to get out the game now. You can't just switch. Man, I ain't never seen no yellow flag on no Crip. What do this?
Dear sister, I'm really sorry. I'm going to have to just pause a second because I'm detecting a big problem with my computer and it may shut down. So just bear with me, sister, because I'm going to have to change something here. I may have to change my camera because I have to. Yeah, so if you just bear with me,
Go
please.
ahead.
1 second.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, my brother. No problem. If you just stop the video, stop the screen share, we'll have a little conversation with the audience, and then we will come back. And you know, we're looking at the image right now of the young man who's wearing his pants all the way down his ankles. And the sad thing is that I've even seen big people dressed like that. Imagine, we're talking about the young people dressing like that. Worse until so when you see the big people then dressing in that way. Oh my days. But you know, as I was saying, it's really painful when we see our young brothers and sisters who are, you know, looking the way that they are. I'm just trying to get my brother behind screen until he's ready to come back. Yeah, it's so painful when we hear these stories and we watch these images of some of our young people. But what we've really got to think about as adults is, what are we doing wrong? We've got to take responsibility because, you know, they are our children. And when I say our children, they may not be the children that we have birthed, but, you know, they are members of our community, and clearly the system isn't going to be looking after their best interest. So if the system's not going to be looking after their best interest, you know, that means we need to be, yeah? And so what more can we be doing? It's our responsibility, whatever is going on in our community that we don't like, to actually make sure that we do something about. So let me see some of the messages from you in the chat, because I want to know what your thoughts and what your opinions are about this. So we've got here, let's go over to the chat. Let's see if I can just blow the screen up a little bit. Bear with me just one moment. Wow, wow, wow. So Go Travel says the way he's dressed in the video is pure LA. Wow. One community voted to start fining people $900 for sagging. Now that's good. That's the state, a state intervention right there. And it's good, you know, when the state decides that it needs to take action. But there are many parts of the country where the state won't intervene, and they don't care what our young people look like. You know, they'll rather have them there as a joke. Tukama Pamoja, welcome, says, don't get me started with how we address each other. Okay, obviously a lot of concern and frustration there. We can hear. And Go Travel says, no, Queen 23 says, I took my children out of their school system. Something happens to our boys in them schools. You know, again, I mentioned Dr. Amos Wilson earlier, who talks about the miseducation of the African in their education system. And I couldn't agree with you more. I couldn't agree with you more. There is definitely, something that goes terribly wrong in those schools when it comes to addressing our children, especially our young boys, because, we send them school, with their rucksack on their back and their books in their bag and their shoes all polished and their suited and booted and looking great for school. And they come back out of those schools with their head hanging, their trousers sagging, as if they have, no hope of a future in the world. So that tells me that the messages that they're getting from the schools is such that it is just totally demoralizing many of our young people and making them feel as though they've never have been anything and never will be anything. And that goes back to the works of Amos Wilson again, that was telling us about, why African history, Black history is so important, because he says that people who are divorced from their history actually suffer psychological problems, because they're suffering from what he calls social amnesia. It's like waking up from a bad dream, not even waking up from a bad dream. It's like being in a bad dream, being in a nightmare, and not even knowing who you are, and it's like, who am I? What am I doing here? Suffering from social amnesia. And then you come out of the dream, the nightmare, and you go into an environment that's full of, graffiti and gangs and drugs. And it's like, what am I doing here? It all feels alien to you. You know that you're greater than this. You know you have potential. You know there's greatness in you. But where is the evidence of it? You've been divorced and cut off from your history. Where is the evidence of your greatness? That's the work that we've got to do, family, to reconnect our young people with who they are as great young princes who are going to become great kings, who have the potential for greatness inside of them. And unless we're doing it, it's not going to happen, because the schools are clearly doing the job that it's been designed to do, which is to knock the greatness out of our young ones. Let me see if our brother Leo has managed to get set up on a new computer backstage. Greetings, my brother Leo. Are you there? How are you getting on backstage? Okay, he's not back with us. Yes. He's back with us. Awesome, but we're not hearing you. You're on mute at the moment, my brother.
Yes, I've had to change my camera, unfortunately, but hopefully we can continue. Can you hear me, sister?
Hearing you loud and clear. I was just sharing with the family. I don't know if you heard what I was saying, but I'm putting the ball right back into our court. I was saying it's like our poor young people, Emma Wilson was saying, it's like they're suffering from social amnesia, because it's like being in a nightmare and waking up in this nightmare and wondering, what am I doing here? I know there's greatness inside of me. I know that, I deserve better and I can do better. But when I look around my environment, when I look, at my people, when I look at where we are in the world today, it makes me feel as though maybe this is all there is to life, and there isn't better. And it really highlights, therefore, the importance for our young people to be able to connect with their history, because it's only our history that's really going to inform us of our potential greatness. And this is what our children and our young people are not getting in school. They're getting a history that it totally excludes them from having made any contribution to society, when we were the ones that created societies and civilized societies and brought, humanity into the world.
That's right.
So many of us don't know the importance of history, but if you're not teaching your children the history of who they are, then they are going to be going around as if they're living the life of someone who's in a nightmare.
That's right.
Let me go back to you, my brother.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, dear sister. Let's see what we can do here. Let's see if we can get back to where we were. Okay, I'm just gonna play some more of this, because it's really, for me, it's really sad when I see our people like this, and the way the other brother is mocking and thinking it's a joke, and we don't understand these images that we send all around the world of ourselves and what it actually means for our future. This is not some old man. This is a young person, but look at the condition. Look at the state. Now they've got us going out in our house slippers. We call them sliders. I mean, the whole trend is towards a kind of loose, disheveled, tramp-like existence. And so many of our young people now have fallen into the trap of thinking that this is the way that we should carry and conduct ourselves.
Well, I mean, if you got a yellow flag, you got a new crip dance then. Do the new crip dance. Get out of here, Crip. Crip. Hold on, dog. Hold on, Crip. Go to Crip.
So, dear family, you know, I hope people really understand the motivation here. Some of us think this is just about a funeral that took place the other day. So while you and I continue to play the fool, hate and kill each other, they put on for the world a demonstration of supreme organization, military strength and power, and heritage, going back into the 16th century, going back into the 19th century, coming right up to date, showing how they can mix modern technology with their history and their culture as a people. I hope this is not lost on us, dear family, because we think that we're just civilians, while in reality, we are literally at war. And that there are people making war on us, and we don't understand that as non-combatants in the war, by just being casual observers, we're being victimized and destroyed systematically. The propaganda around this funeral and what was shown to the world, I'm telling you, dear family, and I saw many of our people involved in it, and many of our people shedding tears, many of our people expressing absolute pain over the loss of our former colonial masters. And the people who have watched since the 50s when she was crowned, they have observed us suffer in so many different realms and so many different dimensions, and they've waxed rich from our suffering. And yet today we've been so conditioned and so brainwashed that you've got many of us today literally going out under these circumstances and painting a Union Jack on our face or covering our bodies in a Union Jack clothing, and like I said, crying and shedding tears and talking about, oh, she was a grandmother. What about all those black grandmothers who never ever got to see their children grow up? What about all of the young people today, myself being one of them, I can't identify my great-great-grandparents, my great-grandparents. I don't know who they are or where they were, because our families have been severed. Our links to the history, what Sister Shanice was just talking about a minute ago, is so critically important. That history, see, that longevity. Do you know the only reason why these people can even claim to be royal is because they can trace their history all the way back to the original royal who they stole it from, which was a black man and a black woman. I mean, that's not our subject today. I'm not even going to go into that today. But make no mistake about it, they couldn't even claim royalty unless it came directly from us in the first place, because we are the original royals. And that's why when you look back in British history, you see all these little indications of black people all up in that reality. Dear family, you know, it's not just the ordinary everyday black man who is depicted, or worse, depicting ourselves as clowns, buffoons, lackeys, cowards, dummies, and also rands in the race of life and in the world of power, politics, economics, and social hierarchy and status. Just look, this is what Sister Shanice wanted me to touch on, but just look at what happened to the so-called black leaders in London on Monday at the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II. Just take a look at this, dear family.
So yesterday, while watching the funeral of the late Queen Elizabeth, I was surprised to see Cyril Ramaphosa standing in a bus. And on another picture, there are African leaders sitting down and smiling to the camera. While on another picture, there is there Mnangagwa in the driver's seat. And I was surprised that are these guys not attending a funeral? Are these guys not presidents? And while wondering, here comes Joe Biden, the president of USA, arriving in an entourage. So he's being escorted by many cars to arrive at the venue. While our brothers there, our president, the people we look up to say that you can eradicate poverty, they are being put in a bus and they are taking pictures of them to say, smile to the camera. So they gave Joe Biden the presidential treatment while they are giving our presidents residential treatment.
The residential treatment.
They are showing them that you are only important there in Africa, not here in the UK. We are not going to give you entourage in the UK. Here, you arrive in a bus. We put you all in a bus. It doesn't matter whether you are very important there in Africa, not here. And I was asking myself, why did this guy not just sit at home and not come to the funeral? I mean, they're costing us taxpayers' money, a lot of money. They are using a lot of money to go there only for them to be treated as the third best. I don't know if the third best is the best option to come up with, but they were not important yesterday. They were not shown that important status that they have. They were treated like pedestrian. Put in the bus, go to the funeral, come back, go home. You can take your private jets when you go home. But when you come to the funeral, nothing important will be shown to you. This is the indication to them while they dance into the West, while they dance into Europe. It is an indication that no matter how much you try to show them that you love them, they will never show you that love. To us, it was always about the minerals. It was always about what we can offer them, not what they can offer us. Whatever they offer us, it ends there with the leaders, never to the people. But whatever we offer them, it comes from the people to those countries. If these leaders of ours did not see that, were not ashamed of what they saw, nothing will ever change. But to us, the people who were watching them, we were glad to see them being treated like that, because that's how they treat us here back at home.
And you know, I found that statement quite sad in truth. The brother was glad to see them humiliated because that's, according to him, the way a lot of the leaders treat the people, the ordinary African people back in Africa, back on the continent. You see, and again, this is where, you know, if we're not careful, where the self-hatred becomes all-encompassing. Dear family, this sister on the screen is...
Before you move on to the sister on the screen...
Go ahead, my sister.
Yes, I just want to comment on,
yes, ma'am,
you know, the way that the African leaders were humiliated by being, you know, put on the bus like that and shuffled around like that. If they don't see that as a real insult, if they don't see that, you know, as maximum humiliation, then, you know, they really just haven't got a clue about the mindset.
But then, did you see the smile? Did you see the smiles on their faces, sister? Yeah. Do they see it as humiliation, or are they very happy just to be on a damn bus that they've been stuck on?
From those faces, you're right, my brother. I mean, they just seem to be more excited about the opportunity of going to, you know, this Queen's funeral, irrespective of how they were being treated to get there. But so I'm really glad that, you know, our African brothers and sisters from the continent, who's the ones who are really, you know, stirring up this on social media, saw it for what it really is. And let me see what the comments in the chat are saying on this. Okay, yeah, thanks, Nikala. Reminding everybody to give us a thumbs up. Yeah, please do give us a thumbs up. Pharaoh is saying that they should have been doing what Julius Malema of South Africa was doing. I love this young brother. Yes, our brother, young brother Julius Malema, he had a lot to say. If we get a chance, we'll bring that up on the screen before the end of the show today. And also there was a comment in the chat that said, you know, they should be ashamed of themselves and they should have stayed at home. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, for saying they should have stayed at home. You know, it's just so insulting and humiliating, not just for the leaders, my brother, but for all of us as Africans. That's Someone right. actually commented on social media, suppose that bus blew up, suppose something happens on that bus, all those African leaders would have been taken out at one go. You never see, and the secret services and the CIA and the specialists and all of them, if there's one thing that they do know very, very well and consider, is security. They understand the importance of security. That's why the royal family will never always travel in the same car. That's why, right. You know, Biden turned up in this bulletproof, bomb-proof car.
That's right.
Because they know the importance of security. Yes. But clearly, when it comes to the African leaders, as far as they're concerned, security doesn't matter.
That's
Why?
Right.
Because they don't matter.
That's
and these
right.
very same presidents, when you go to their country, if they're coming down the highway, there's like 30 cars going ahead of them, and they're in one of the cars, you don't know which one they're in. There's a motorbike, bikes all around them, soldiers with cars, you know, on the back. Top security, because they understand the importance of security, and also, you know, the importance of a big show of importance for their people. Well, I mean, they should be going home with their tails between their legs. They really ought to be, because if they don't understand and recognize that this is big time humiliation, they've lost the plot.
That's right. That's right, my sister. They understand the importance of security against their own people. But you can come into Europe, your traditional, historical, open enemy. And then all of a sudden, all your security goes out the window, and you are so trusting that you will all pile onto a bus. You got one of the presidents sitting in the driver's seat of the bus, like, oh, you know, look at me. And
that one, I think that was a mock one, actually. That was I think that was President Mnangagwa from Zimbabwe. Right. I don't think he was actually invited. So I think that was him mocking the president. I think so. Yeah.
But you know, my sister, you see, Joe Biden, he would never dream of getting on that bus.
Well, I wouldn't even have dreamed if I was the president of going on that bus either. I would have refused.
Right,
but, you
exactly.
know, I'm toothless, you know, spineless African leaders, you know, they were all, why didn't all of them protest? They could have all gotten individual taxes if they, which would have been better.
Exactly. But you see, again, we have a question that we're asked in the nation. And the question is, why do we love the devil? And the answer to the question is because the devil gives us nothing. Just think on that, because you know, it's an indictment on us as a people when, if that's the behavior of the so-called leadership, my God, then how can we even condemn our people when we see them manifesting foolishness, if that's the level that the leaders are at, where they will actually put away their own security because they're now in Massa's house and they feel so safe. It's like I always used to say back in the day when I was doing my edutainment on the stages up and down this country, you know, where you'd see black people get on the underground and go and stand right next to the train line on the underground with a whole bunch of white people behind them, and they would have no fear whatsoever. And do you know how often people get pushed on those lines? They get pushed on
How
the lines
often?
all the time, beloved. But we would
Wow.
stand there and we would have no fear, but you would hear the same person in the next breath telling you that, oh, they don't want to go to certain parts of Africa or certain parts of the Caribbean on holiday because it's too dangerous.
Wow.
We got our priorities all wrong.
Absolutely. Brother Kwame Yossi has got a question in the chat. He says, I'd like to ask Brother Leo, he once made a call for 10,000 black men in London. Given what happened to our brother Chris Kaba, does he think the call for 10,000 black men is still needed?
The call is more than needed, my sister. The call is absolutely a clarion call that is still relevant today, more relevant today than when the call was initially made. And I may say a little bit more on that later on. But just to say, dear family, this is Keisha McLeod. This is my niece. Okay,
Oh,
this is
wow.
my niece. This is the daughter of one of my sisters. This is Corey Jr. Davis, or CJ as they call him. This is my grandnephew, her son. This is her son and my grandnephew, who on the 4th of September 2017, age 14, was shot in the head by an unidentified gunman who fled the scene, the murder scene, in a never to be found Range Rover. I just want you to let that sink in. They got the Range Rover on CCTV, and the police, according to the police, they've never found that Range Rover. Let me just say this before I finish on that subject. You know, back in the early 90s, they were saying that the average Londoner is caught on CCTV cameras over 300 times a day. That was in the early 90s. Dear family, we are caught on CCTV today into the thousands of times each and every day, wherever you go in the UK and in particular in London. But here you've got a Range Rover. Again, it wasn't a mini, it wasn't a small car. This is a Range Rover, brightly colored. I think it was silver in color, where this gunman shot and killed my nephew, and they had the on CCTV making a getaway. And according to the police, they've never found this vehicle again. Never seen it, never found it burnt out somewhere. This vehicle has just disappeared. This is the kind of reality that we are dealing with here today. CJ, as he was also known, never recovered, and he died in the hospital the very next day. Dear family, I mentioned this because I want people to understand that I'm not speaking the way I speak just based on some theoretical hypothesis about problems in our community. It's very, very close to home. And I know many people who have suffered this type of loss and are witnessing the carnage that's taking place in the black community, where we're doing it to ourselves. Because, you know, this is the point why we need a message to the black man, and why black men, black women, black girls and boys have to appreciate, man, that we must look again at one another, and we must understand that we are family. We are blood of each other's blood and bone of each other's bone. That's why we use the language of sister and brother. Not just some church thing or some religious thing. We're family, man. And you know how difficult it is to kill your family member, but as long as we are seeing each other as the enemy, this thing will continue. This is the reality of what we're talking about, and why we have to have a message to the black man. Go ahead, sister.
Yeah, first of all, my condolences, to you and your niece and your family for the loss of young CJ there, beautiful soul taken away and we don't know who by. And you're absolutely right. That incident must have been caught on CCTV. There is CCTV footage, camera footage of what happened, who done it, and it is all there to be seen. And what I think we absolutely need, and all of these unsolved murders and all of these unsolved incidences really makes me question as well, who is really behind it, you know? And when the police, who have access to all of this CCTV, turn around and say that there is no evidence and they can't find, you know, any trace of the car on CCTV, that makes me very suspicious about who's behind it.
Absolutely,
it makes me very suspicious because what I do know is that our history shows us that the police have been known to get involved in allowing criminals to carry out criminal acts on our streets.
In the black community.
Our police, the British police have been known to go to, yes, my brother, have been known to go as far as Jamaica.
That's right.
Get known gunmen from and murderers from Jamaica.
And recruit them and bring them into the country.
To commit crimes, to stir up.
Bring them into the country.
Exactly. Yeah, so that they can come into our communities and stir up crime in our communities. And in the 80s, it was them same one who were responsible for even the drug pushing and the drug smuggling and the drug dealing that was going on in our communities. So
that's
sometimes it's not all as what it may appear. And when they turn around and say that they can't find any evidence from any CCTV, what are they covering up? What are they hiding? I've always said this, my brother, in cases like this, you know, makes me want to reiterate the fact that we need our own detective agency. We need our own black detective agency that demands copies of these CCTV footage so that they can examine it for themselves, that demand, you know, the local authorities to give them copies of any CCTV cameras footage that they may have, because this car came from somewhere. We should be able to trace back from the CCTV where this car came from, right up to the point of seeing who got into those cars.
There's
hardly a street, there's hardly a main road anywhere in London that doesn't have a camera on it.
That's right.
Camera for cars, for drive your car, camera while you're walking on the street, camera if you're in the station, camera everywhere. These people don't know.
I was in a public bathroom.
We need our own agencies.
I was in a public bathroom recently, my sister, and I looked up, and in the corner of the room, there was a camera.
My dear. So you can't even go to the loo without them knowing about it.
That's the point.
Yet, a murder can happen. And they can't even, it's not just the somebody them say them can't trace. The big old car,
can't trace
you can't drive through a traffic light in London and it not detect your registration number.
That's right.
You can't drive through traffic lights without it detecting your registration number, because they're monitoring you to see what speed you're driving at, to see if they can give you a ticket.
Yes.
These people bad and wicked, and are probably involved in some way or other. And if they weren't involved, why are they not releasing the CC camera footage? And why are they not tracing that vehicle? You know, people in the chat are sending their condolences as well, my brother, for your loss. And, you know, I hope someone hears my call for our own Black intelligence agency and sets one up, so that, you know, we as ordinary people, you know, can then pay them to investigate investigate the crimes that are impacting on our people without us having, so we don't have to rely on people who don't look like us, don't give a damn about us and what happens in our community, to supposedly be investigating the crimes that happen against us, when obviously, you know, they're not lifting a finger to do so.
That's right. That's
time
right.
for change.
And that's
can't
what
expect people who don't have our interest in heart, you know.
That's what, Yes, ma'am.
Sorry.
No problem, my sister. And that's what the 1000 Fearless is all about. You see, where we begin now to police our own communities, where we begin now to have that investigative body, that Ministry of Defense within our own black community. This is why the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan called for 10,000 fearless. And, you know, these things are happening now in the black communities in North America and here, where we are determined that we've got to have brothers and sisters who are sufficiently organized together that we can actually start to take care of our own, man. Because we can't rely on this so-called metropolitan police with all of the scandals of racism, sexism, bigotry, and all the rest of the madness from Child Q right now coming to Chris Carver and on and on and on. It never ends. It never ends. There's been well over 1,000 black deaths in custody, no prosecutions. And so, you know, we would be a very, very foolish people if we continue to expect to get any kind of real investigation when it comes to the death of our people and any kind of justice in the end. This is real, family. And it is, from my perspective,
True talk, my brother.
it is a real shame that the vast majority of the global black family don't yet recognize the divine God force, powerful and righteous leadership of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and hurry and line up and unite behind him to effect a mighty victory, never to be undone, reversed, or defeated. Because the scripture in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 31 says, if God be for you, who can be against you? See, we have a problem today, in my humble opinion, where many of us, we've thrown God away, beloved. We've thrown God away. We think that God belongs to the white man, or God belongs to the Asian, or God belongs to the Pakistani. And this is such a travesty that we are perpetrating against ourselves. That's like taking your own head off and throwing it in the bin. Our nature is God. We are the people of God. And this is something, dear family, that we absolutely must address, because if we don't, you know, we will continue to cry and moan and groan and suffer, but nothing will change. In fact, the only thing that will change is that things will continue to get worse. Things will continue to deteriorate.
Before we go on to the next slide, my brother.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, indeed. If I can just bring in some of the comments on the chat before you move on. And you know, and what you said there, the essence for me was what was said, our nature was God. There's so much in that statement there. You know, our nature was God. You know, to us, nature was God, because we recognize the creation in nature. Wow. That was just that just stuck out for me, and obviously so much more what you said, you know, about today as well, being able to get behind someone who, you know, potentially has so much power as well to make the difference that we want to see. But let me bring in some of the comments in the chat that says here. So G-Man is saying nation building and nothing else should matter. G-Man also goes on to say, stop thinking Europeans are gonna start loving us. We must be accountable, he says, for our own great cultural reset. Epacho says racism, colonialism, and the system is their daily tea. It's a daily cup of tea for them, says Epacho. Let's scroll down to what other comments are in here. Richard is totally agreeing with what's been said in here already. Go Travel Broad says that basically we're practicing learned helplessness, begging the master to help burn his house down. It's a distraction from the liberation struggle.
Come on.
So such a profound, you know, statement there indeed. Begging the master to help him to burn his house down. Hey, you should be burning our house down. Why are you going to help us fire out that he himself was created. The sooner we realize that and start doing the self, hey, the sooner change will start to happen. First time saying greetings spiritually from Chicago. Rise up, family from Chicago. Give thanks to the Most High Creator of all the creation, the Judge, the jury, the only one worthy of worshiping, praising, thanking, remembering, learning, etc., etc. Welcome on board, first time, and Go Travel is I can't see that under the saying yes, the Black Millennial Panthers. Okay, someone can correct me on that one. So thank you for your comments in the chat. Please do keep them going. I saw a comment from Brother Glenroy Watson, all the way from Jamaica. Oh, Jamaica, that's good. My sister out there right now as well. Thank you for your comments coming in through the chat. People coming, I will bring them in. Periodically as well. Back over to you, my brother Leo. Thanks for allowing us.
Yes, my sister.
Thank
you so much.
We expect, the demons themselves to be solving our problem. We're on the wrong track.
Thank you so much, my sister. I'm not sure what's happening with your sound, but it's a little bit choppy at the present time.
On CNN, I was questioned
my apologies.
I spoke in 2007 about Barack Obama. And CNN said, well, what do you think about this young man? I said, I think he's brilliant. I think he has fresh ideas. But I'm under no illusion that even if he did become president.
My purpose for playing this is to really show what divine, powerful leadership looks like and what it's all about. And I'm encouraging us as a people in 2022, it's about time we started lining up behind somebody who has a proven track record. I hear these people talking about the Queen. She sat on the throne for 70 years. 70 years, by the way, of carnage for black people. But here you got a black man who has been teaching us for 67 years. 67 years of his life. And this man has not put a foot wrong in terms of his representation and defense of black people. And I'm appealing to us, beloved. It's time for us to recognize leadership when we see it, and let's do something about our condition, because nobody else ain't gonna do it for us.
That he could change the reality of black suffering in America, because when you are running for something, you can say a lot of things. But when you sit in the seat and you feel the energy of electricity putting something on your backside, the forces that surround power is always the real power. President Obama does not run this country. President Obama has been chosen to govern white affairs.
All these black people sitting around the table, Jesse Jackson and all of them, they're all madly in love with Obama whilst he's the president. But here you got real leadership where the minister is going to tell us the truth about our brother with love, but we have to know the truth, because we love to just dream and fantasize about a change we can all believe in, dear family, when in reality the minister makes it clear, beloved, what's going on.
And if in that process we get something, it won't be because the governing powers want it, it will be because we organized and forced a government to speak to our needs.
Organized and forced.
Now, look, thank you for the question. You know, I want it clearly said in love that I love my brother. I voted for him. At 5 o'clock in the morning, I was out there with my wife voting for our brother. I, like you, am very proud that a black man sits in the White House. But I also understand very clearly, and we should understand that it is the White House. And until we exercise power to force that house to address our agenda. Now remember, our dear sister Julianne Malvo mentioned A. Philip Randolph. Man, that was long time ago. And the cry was jobs and justice. In the March on Washington in 1963, the cry was jobs and justice. In the 20-year anniversary of the March on Washington, the cry was jobs and justice. We are now in 2010. And what is the cry? Jobs and justice. Well, wait a minute. How long are you going to sit around begging white people to do for us what we have the power to do for ourselves?
That's
on CNN.
That's leadership, dear family.
On CNN.
I just want to say, you know, as we move towards the closing of this presentation, that I just want to remind us of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan calling for 1 million black men to go to Washington, D.C. on a Monday. And nearly 2 million showed up. See again, dear family, I know many of us think that we are the big cheese and we're the big leader and whatever. I'm telling you, man. And just imagine a black man calling for 1 million, nearly 2 million show up and spend the entire day on that Washington Mall, and they've got military soldiers hiding underground in Washington, terrified, thinking that the whole thing is going to kick off. President Clinton, who was the president at the time, left town. The whole United States government shut down. And it turned out to be the most powerful, peaceful event in the history of marches or demonstrations or gatherings. You know, dear family, on that day, the minister got the men on that mall to make a pledge. And I just wanted to go over this pledge because, see, until we as black men take responsibility, and by the way, you know, Sister Shanice, our sisters are some of the most upset and frustrated women on this planet, because they're looking around and they're looking, trying to spy a strong, upright, righteous black man, and they can hardly find one. And I'm saying, man, brothers, we've got to pull this thing together. We've got to understand that, you know, we're the backbone. We're the key to this thing. Our women, believe me, they play such a critical and crucial role. And maybe one of these days, sister, if you will allow me, I will want to talk on the black woman, because, you know, she is so much more than what we think and what this world thinks she is. But we got to understand, brothers, that we've got to do something, man, because where we are right now, we are in danger of losing everything because of our level of complacency when it comes to our unity and coming together in order to affect change. Change is not going to come from nowhere except within ourselves, except within the black man and the black woman. Just follow this for the time being.
Now, brothers, in closing, I want you to take this pledge. When I say I want you to say I, and I'll say your name. I know that there's so many names, but I want you to shout your name out so that the ancestors can hear it. Take this pledge with me. Say with me, please. I say your name. Pledge that from this day forward, I will strive to love my brother as I love myself. I say your name. From this day forward, will strive to improve myself spiritually, morally, mentally, socially, politically, and economically, for the benefit of myself, my family, and my people. I say your name. Pledge that I will strive to build business, build houses, build hospitals, build factories, and enter into international trade for the good of myself, my family, and my people. I say your name. Pledge that from this day forward, I will never raise my hand with a knife or a gun to beat, cut, or shoot any member of my family or any human being except in self-defense. I say your name. Pledge from this day forward, I will never abuse my wife by striking her, disrespecting her. For she is the mother of my children and the producer of my future. I say your name. Pledge that from this day forward, I will never engage in the abuse of children, little boys or little girls, for sexual gratification. But I will let them grow in peace to be strong men and women for the future of our people. I say your name. Will never again use the B word to describe any female particularly my own black sister. I say your name, pledge from this day forward that I will not poison my body with drugs or that which is destructive to my health and my well-being. I say your name, pledge from this day forward I will support black newspapers, black radio, black television. I will support black artists who clean up their acts to show respect for themselves and respect for their people and respect for the ears of the human family. I say your name will do all of this. So help me God. Allahu Akbar.
Dear family, I hope everybody is good. I hope everybody is witnessing with us this evening, because you see, it's all well and good to talk about the problems. It's all well and good to point out all of the ills that plague the black man and plague the black woman and plague the black family. But we're also solution orientated. And I'm telling you, dear family, it is not rocket science. This is not something that is so complicated and so entrenched and so, inexplicable that we can't solve these problems. These are basic things that as human beings we must address if we are to make the appropriate changes that will see us move from being victims and becoming the masters of our own destinies. Dear brothers and sisters, this is what this show, Sister Shanice's show, is all about tonight, dealing with this subject matter, Message to the Black Man, Part 2. What is the essence? What in essence does the Message to the Black Man teach? In essence, dear family, it teaches that the black man and woman are made in the image and likeness of God. That's who we are. Okay, there is no God that don't look like me and you. That's who we are. That we are direct descendants from God. Think about this, family. Whenever that creator was in the distant past, we have a direct link today in 2022 to that creator. That's who we are. That we are gods, both male and female, gods, children of the Most High God. That's why we say our Father. That's why we refer to God in that paternalistic fashion, because he is our Father. It teaches that we are to fear nothing and no one but God. Dear family, today is not a day for fear. Did you know that fear disables? That fear cripples? That fear paralyzes? That fear stultifies the growth and the development of the human being who is fearful. We must eliminate fear, family. And it's not something you just do by waving a wand and saying abracadabra. It's something that we have to train into. We have to practice living without fear. We have to understand these things that we fear that are literally not real. It teaches the scripture in the book of Romans chapter 12 verse 2 that instructs us. Listen to the instruction from chapter 12 verse 2 of the book of Romans. It says, "And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Again, not abracadabra. Do you know how difficult it is to change a thinking that's all wrong? There's another scripture that says, as a man thinketh, and when it says man, it's talking about woman too. As a man, as a woman thinketh in his heart, in her heart, so is he, so is she. Based on our thinking, dear family, determines who we are. And so the thinking itself has to be transformed, has to be renewed. We have to go back. We have to be humble enough to go back to school. And I'm not talking about going and sitting in some classroom somewhere. The school is right here. We have to gain a thorough knowledge of self. Did you know, dear family, that when you know yourself, you know God? Did you know that when you really know God, you know self? Oh man, I'm telling you, this thing is so deep. It is so deep. And our enemy works 24 hours, 7 days a week to give us the idea and the concept of a spook God. A God who is unreal, somewhere in the sky, floating around on a cloud. This is what most of us, when we talk about God, this is what we believe in. A vaporized cloud. Nothing tangible, nothing real. And we pray. Some of us pray. And guess what we pray to? We pray to nothing. We pray to nothing. Dear family, we must understand. How many of you talk to yourself? How many of you listen to yourself? How many of us meditate? How many of us get a silent moment in this 21st century world that we live in, where everywhere we go it's noise? Either on the phone or the television or some other thing, but we're always in noise. When do we ever take a moment to go and sit by a stream, if we can find a stream, to go and climb up a mountain, to go into a forest, to go and just listen to nature, just to be quiet for a second? When was the last time we took our shoes off and walked barefoot on some grass or on some soil, to get back in touch and in tune with the earth from whence we came and to which we will return? Dear family, I'm saying these things. I hope you don't think that this is some not so crazy concept that we're dealing with here tonight. What we're dealing with is something very, very real, something very, very simple in truth. But it has to be practiced. We have to get back into the practice of living as a people. Dear family, I want us to just look at something else, because I really want us to get what I'm talking about and who I'm talking about, because I would be remiss in my duty and I would be a liar if I came before you today and tried to make out that Leo Muhammad is some smart kid on the block who, you know, he's just, oh man, he knows so much. No, dear family, I'm just a baby student of a master teacher.
Before you go on to the next clip, my brother, just want to let you know that the comments in the chat were saying that that was a powerful pledge, and I have to agree. It was a powerful pledge.
Beautiful.
Indeed.
Beautiful, my sister. Thank you so much. And thanks to all of your viewers and listeners who are, you know, commenting and interacting with us this evening. It means such a lot, because it's just good to know that there are brothers and sisters out there who are hearing the message and feeling the message and feeding back, because that's what we need to do.
I'll try and pull that clip out, because it'd be good to remind, you know, our brothers of that pledge. And for those who weren't there to make that pledge, maybe, you know, when they see 1 million of our men in America making that pledge, they themselves might decide to make that pledge as well, and to, you know, make it their mantra.
Absolutely.
And how they conduct themselves going forward. Time
Absolutely.
is whizzing by. You know, we're 2 hours into the show already.
Wow.
So
Wow.
we're on overtime now. But
Okay.
let me allow you to conclude.
And what I will do, Sister Shanice, I'll make sure that you get that pledge in, you know, video form, so that if, you know, you can distribute it or give it to people who need it in the future as well. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
There is a need in our community for a universal change. And it has to start with the man. Being a man of God means being a man possessed of the knowledge, the spirit, and the power of God, anointed to do his will. To build a people, you first must make man. Every man, no matter what his color, no matter what his race, every man, in order to be a man, must be a man of God, or he's not a man at all. Let us make man.
Join the FOI, brothers. We've got to make a man. We've got to make a man. We are almost there, dear family. We are right at the end. But I've got to remind us, this is not a day for punks, cowards, or self-haters. This is just not that kind of day. You may as well dig a hole somewhere and jump in it, because today is a day when we need courage.
I saw an article that referenced that the FBI, the CIA, and every other government agency of authority should have Louis Farrakhan investigated and arrested because he called for 10,000 people, 10,000 men to come forth to kill white people.
Well, I've been investigated by the FBI. They can go to hell. The CIA right along with them. I don't fear that. If I were like the rest of the Negroes that fear the FBI, the CIA, the IRS, then I would be like them, scratching where I don't itch, bending when I don't have to. No, God is present today. They need to be afraid. I'm talking to the CIA, the FBI, the IRS, the U.S. government. You need to be afraid today because the God of justice is present now. That's why he said, vengeance is mine. The battle is not yours. The battle is the Lord's, and God has come. The battle is on, and the plagues are coming down on America. No, I'm not afraid, but you need to be, and especially when you see what's coming up, because as a man soweth, the same shall he also reap. And when you have done the evil that you've done to us and done it to others, did you never think that there would come a day when you would have to pay for all that crap that you have done? Thomas Jefferson said it right, brother. He said, I tremble for my country when I reflect that God is just and that his justice cannot sleep forever. Well, his justice has awakened, and all over the world, the nations are turning against America. America the Great is falling right before our eyes. And that's why Trump is saying we got to make America great. How? When? Again. Because she's not great today. People are not afraid of her. ISIS and ISIL over there, they want America to send some troops back so they can send them back in body bag. People are not afraid. The world has taken enough of America's evil. So death is sweeter to some than continuing to live under white supremacy and under tyranny.
Freedom or death.
Oh no, I don't care nothing about them investigating
That's what our Asian
me,
brothers
or arresting me, or even killing me. But I tell you what, I'll give you a little warning. You killed your last man when you killed Dr. King. You will not get that chance to do that to me. And if it pleases God that you do kill me right after you kill me, all of you gonna die. Because I'm not here by myself. I'm not here of myself. You can see that God must be backing me. Otherwise, where would I get the strength to say and do what I do? No, man, it's our time now. And it's their time to tremble in your boots. And believe me, you will meet the God.
Dear family, I hope you are good. Thank you so much for allowing me that wonderful opportunity to share with you. I'm not sure what's happened to my screen here.
Okay, well, we're still seeing Louis Farrakhan. My screen is showing slow as well. And I picked up, thank you, Sister Verna, in the chat that, as you said, there were some audio problems my end. So I'll be keeping quiet. But to everyone in the chat, that's been making your comments, thank you so much. Someone's actually saying that Pledge of Allegiance was so powerful, it should be taught to the young people when they become of understanding. Absolutely agree. It should be a pledge that all of our young people make on a daily basis. And, and once it's in their heart, they can start actually practicing that pledge as well. So for everyone that's been commenting in the chat, thank you so much. Apologies for the technical challenges that we have been having along the way. Are you able to stop screen sharing now, my brother Leo?
Yes, my sister, just very quickly, just this last little message to you.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
No problem. Thank you, my dear beloved sister Shanice, and all your wonderful viewers and listeners for the special honor and privilege of appearing on the Sister Shanice Show. May the Almighty Creator and the legacy and divine strength and power of the righteous ancestors continue to furnish us with the light of understanding. I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you, dear family.
Alaikum salam. It's been a privilege and an honor today, as always, my brother Leo, to hear from you and to have you address our audience. It was a powerful message as well. That pledge, as everyone is saying, powerful, meaningful pledge as well. A couple of people were asking what happened after, that Million Man March. Well, clearly what should have happened after is that pledge that everyone made should have been followed through. So clearly what our brother Leo Muhammad was showing us from that clip there, from Elijah Muhammad, is that he was giving the responsibility to each and every Black man, young and old. He was giving them instructions and was telling them, this is what you ought to be doing as a Black man. You don't lift your hand to the Black woman. You're resourceful, you're enterprising, you create jobs and opportunities for the community. What was said in the pledge, that's what now needs to go into the heart of every Black man. That is such a powerful message there, my brother Leo Muhammad. We thank you so much. You've got a heart for your people, a heart for your community, a heart for young people, and a heart for nation building. And that's why, it's always an honor to have you on this platform. As you know, I don't promote any particular tribe or religion or anything like that, because first and foremost, we are Africans first. And I can see, that you are a man, and I can hear from your heart that you are a man for your people. And what saved you was this particular religion. And if it can save you, you're saying it can save others.
That's right.
And so if that's what it takes to save our men, then maybe it could be a stepping stone, or it could be something that just saves them from the pit of hell. But if they can be saved by recognizing the power that they get from their history, or they can be saved from the power of their parents or that mother or that grandmother that's nurturing them, if they can be saved by a community that they've got around them so that they can manifest their greatness. What we're saying to our men is that you are all powerful, you are almighty, and you need to find what saves you and gives you the courage that you need to manifest your greatness. Because if there's one thing we do know, there's greatness inside of you. We love you, my brother Leo Muhammad. We love you. You know, thank
Love you
you.
right back, beloved. Love you right back and love you more. Love you.
Thank you, Ruth, and love to you and your family. So the audience, we love you too. And we look forward to you joining us next Wednesday as well. We've got another great guest lined up. Well, we've got two guests lined up for you next Wednesday. We actually have a Nana, a king from the Cape Coast of Ghana, who has a heart for the diaspora. We will be hearing from him next strong. Nana Kweku, the third for a region in Cape Coast. And we also will be hearing from our brother Ekshaba Sebu, who is the founder of Black History Month UK. We all enjoy Black History Month, but how many of us have ever stopped to think about who it is, who was responsible for bringing Black History Month to the UK? Well, you're going to meet the man himself, okay, who was responsible for bringing Black History Month to the UK. So thank you so much for joining me today on the Sister Shanice Show. It's been an absolute honor and privilege to have our brother Leo Muhammad and you, our wonderful audience. Please do, on the way out, leave a comment in the description box below this video. Thank you for the messages in the chat. Also, please do give us a thumbs up and share. If you're not a subscriber, please do subscribe. Thanks again, brother Leo. Thank you, family. Sister Shanice out of here for now. More love, more power, more strength, more voodoo.